When I say the word Amityville, what comes to mind? Most of you think of the movie or the book, The Amityville Horror. It tells the story of the Lutz family, George, Kathy, and Kathy's children from a previous marriage, Daniel, Christopher, and Melissa, and their dog Harry. George and Kathy each had their own homes and were excited to move in together for a fresh start. In December of 1975, they found what they thought at the time was a great deal. This gorgeous waterfront property, 112 Ocean Avenue. And best of all, it was a steal at only $80,000. Even back in 1975, that was incredibly cheap. Why was it so cheap? We'll get to that shortly. The Lutz family told stories of hearing voices and witnessing what could only be explained as paranormal experiences. Ed and Lorraine Warren, paranormal researchers who were involved with the alleged haunting of the doll Annabelle, even investigated the home. But was 112 Ocean Avenue really haunted? Was there a demonic spirit present harassing and terrifying the Lutz family? Or could it all have been the work of an overactive imagination? The reason why I mentioned that it could have just been an overactive imagination brings us right back to the reason for the property's extremely low price of $80,000. Roughly a year before the Lutz family would buy this house, the DeFeo family had been living there. Since 1965, Ronald DeFeo Sr., his wife Louise, and their 5 children, Dawn, Allison, Mark, John, and the oldest, Ronald DeFeo Jr., had called this place home. What happened in the early morning of November 13, 1974 was ripped straight out of a nightmare. Ronald DeFeo Jr. took a rifle and shot both of his parents and all 4 of his younger siblings, killing them all. His parents were shot twice. They were all found on their beds, face down, as if they were still sleeping. You see, George and Kathy Lutz knew about the murders. The realtor told them the story of what happened. They bought the house anyways, believing that the past was the past and they would rather look ahead to the future. But I want to look into the past. Before the Lutz family and their paranormal claims, let's talk about the DeFeo family. What exactly happened at 112 Ocean Avenue on November 13, 1974? Ronald DeFeo Jr., most people called him Butch, who was 23 at the time, ran into a local bar called Henry's. He appeared shaken and scared and was saying, "You got to help me, I think my mother and father are shot." A few people from the bar went back to the house with DeFeo, and sure enough, everyone inside was dead. One of the group, Joey Yeswit, then called the police. Now, Butch wasn't a person of interest at first, as he told the police he believed it was a mob hit. What was really confusing for the detectives was how anyone could fire the rifle a total of 8 times without a silencer, yet no one woke up. All of the bodies were killed while they were face down. Even the neighbors admit to not hearing the gunfire, and they were pretty close. They heard the dog barking, but no gunfire. There were a few theories. The first one, multiple shooters. That would make sense, but there was no solid evidence to support that idea. The second theory was sedatives. Knock everyone out and then you could kill them at your leisure. Nope, test came back negative on that. And the original mob hit story was proven to be a lie. After some questioning, Butch admits to killing them all. He said, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop, it went so fast." Then he took a bath, redressed in clean clothes, and went to work. He then lets the police know where the rifle was stashed and the blood-stained clothes he was wearing at the time were. Now, the Lutz family knew all of this, and what they didn't, I'm sure the townsfolk were more than happy to fill in. Also, the trial was a big thing and there was no way they could ignore that. At the trial, Butch even said that he heard his family's voices plotting against him, so that's why he killed them. I'm sure George and Kathy Lutz would hear that through gossip or read it in the paper. You tell me that wouldn't affect you in some way? George Lutz claiming to wake up around 3:15 every morning, which was the estimated time of the murders. George stated that he would sometimes wake up to what sounded like a marching band tuning up. He would run downstairs but find nothing, Same with the front door, he would hear it slamming shut, but when he goes to investigate, there was nothing. Kathy was experiencing nightmares about the murders. She also claimed to feel a sensation as if being embraced by an unseen force. Their 5-year-old Melissa had an imaginary friend named Jody, who was supposedly a demonic pig-like creature with red eyes. The Lutz family only lived in that house for 28 days, but that was enough time to let the fear and uneasy feelings get to them. Isn't it possible that there was nothing paranormal going on? More than likely it was the thought of living in a house where over a year ago 6 people, 4 of them children, were murdered, which made them feel this way. They might have thought they could handle it, but they couldn't shake the horrible murders that happened there. Now, there is actually zero physical evidence that proves anything paranormal or demonic happened. There is this photo which was taken after the Lutz family left the home. It was taken by a photographer who worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren, paranormal investigators. They claim that no one was at the doorway when the picture was taken, but once it was developed you can definitely see that someone or something is staring right at the camera. Some believe it's the spirit of John DeFeo, while others claim it was one of the investigators that night who just happened to be in the shot. What do you think? The Lutz family went on talk shows to share their story, and eventually a movie was made. As usual, Hollywood made it seem more extravagant than it really was. There were flies in the home, but not nearly the amount that was portrayed in the film. The red room in the basement that was sealed off, not anywhere as sinister as they made it out to be. It was just a small storage room underneath the stairs. What about Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr.? His story about the night of the murders has changed several times. In a 1986 interview, he stated that his sister Dawn killed their father. Their mother then killed all the siblings, and Butch killed his mother. Then on November 30th, 2000, Butch met with Rick Osuna, an author. Rick claims that Butch confided in him that the murder was planned by Butch, his sister Dawn, and 2 of their friends. The original plan was just to kill the parents, but then Dawn decided to kill the rest of the siblings to prevent any witnesses. Butch, furious of what she just did, knocks her out, puts her on her bed. He then shoots her once in the back of the head. Gunpowder was found on her nightgown, but there was no evidence to prove she fired a gun. There was also only one injury on her body, the single gunshot wound. Now, to me, it's just make-believe. The Lutz family purchased a house, knowing full well of the evil actions that took place in it. The stress of constantly hearing about the murders, be it gossip or on the news, got to them, and they were having nightmares and difficulty sleeping. Their paranoia got the better of them, and they decided they couldn't take it anymore. It was easier for them to just claim the place was haunted than look at everything logically. It's true the Warrens investigated the place, and they too made some bold claims. Ed was knocked down to the ground, and Lorraine said she could see the DeFeo family covered in white sheets. Yet no proof. None. The only truth is that Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his family, and he is serving 6 consecutive life sentences for it. That house is still around. The rounded windows were replaced with more traditional ones, and the address is different. It's now 108 Ocean Avenue. There have been no paranormal experiences since the Lutz family, which means that the haunting was all directed at them, and only them, or there was no haunting at all. You decide. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please don't forget to hit that like button and then subscribe. Once again, my name is Rick, and if you can't make me believe, it's just make-believe. Till next time.